Joe Rogan and Oliver Anthony roast Rainn Wilson and liberals for criticizing Richmond north of Richmond. Here's a clip.
Oliver Anthony joined Joe Rogan on the biggest podcast in the world, the Joe Rogan Experience, and they roasted Rainn Wilson and that's his name, right? Rainn Wilson, yeah. And millionaires talking ish. I love this from the Daily Caller. Millionaires talking ish. Oliver Anthony and Joe Rogan respond to backlash from The Office star. The Office actor Rainn Wilson, known for his roles as Dwight Schrute, said Anthony's song Richmond North of Richmond should have been written about CEOs who make 400 times their average worker's salary and pay little to nothing in taxes. He said, if I were writing a song about Richmond North of Richmond, I wouldn't talk about these people on welfare. I'd sing about CEOs who make 400 times their average worker's salary, up from 50 times 30 years ago, and corporations that pay zero taxes and offshore tax shelters for billionaires. There is nothing funnier than millionaires talking ish about billionaires, Rogan said in an episode published Wednesday. There's nothing funnier than millionaires pretending that these billionaires are out of touch. Take Dwight from The Office down to West Virginia. Take him through those coal mining countries. Take him through those places in Appalachia where people have extreme poverty and pills have ravished those areas. And that's a sad thing. It's everywhere now, Anthony added. The singer said poverty is a major issue in rural and urban areas throughout the nation, making the song resonate with so many Americans.
Exactly.
I knew I needed to do this. Like I knew I needed to. I procrastinated with music a lot for a long time. I mean, I'm 31. I've been playing guitar and playing music on and off since I was a kid, Anthony said. And you know what, man? I hear you. That's why we make music. I've been playing music and writing songs since I was a little kid. I do not have anything close to Oliver Anthony. I meant to say that twice. We have not produced anything here at Timcast that comes close to anything that could even come close to what Oliver Anthony successfully pulled off with an amazing song with amazing lyrics and
Tim's songs aren't too bad. He just barely puts any out and he barely promotes them. I'd always have him at the end of my stuff. And his first song was really good. His second song was still good. His next song, still good. His last one he put out, I think it was his fourth. Maybe that one was his third. It took him forever to put out. And it's just not the best song, honestly.
Impeccable performance. Take a look at this. The lyrics to the song's chorus. I'm just going to say it again for you. Living in the new world with an old soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just want to have total control. Want to know what you think, want to know what you do. They don't think you know, but I know that you do because your dollar ain't ish and it's taxed to no end because of rich men north of Richmond. Yeah, that hit a lot of people, man.
Yeah.
And he's a working class guy, singing about working class issues. And I love this, them calling out millionaires, smack talking billionaires. It's fantastic. But let's get to the core of the cultural debate. The New York Times says on their high horses, too many liberals disdain Oliver Anthony. That's right.
Yeah, I'm not
Why
surprised.
wouldn't they? A working class, salt of the earth guy, blue collar guy out in Appalachia saying here's the things that I see. But the things he sees fly in the face of what the Democrats are trying to do. And it's funny because in this article, they basically point out that Republicans rushed full speed to embrace Oliver Anthony and Democrats shunned him. This is the way it goes. For whatever reason, the Trump camp people, for the most part, not all of them, play this game of, if you say anything positive about us, we will welcome you in and encourage that flame. Whereas the left says, if you don't say everything in line with what we want, we will destroy you. And so think about what that means. The left will inevitably lose. Here's what we get from Nick Kristof. He writes, what's wrong here? A self-described high school dropout living in a camper with a tarp on the roof sings a plaintive cri de coeur, is that how you pronounce that? About blue-collar workers being shafted by the wealthy. And it is right-wing Republicans who rush to embrace him, while Democrats wag their fingers and scold him for insensitivity. Huh? Have Democrats retreated so far from their working man roots that their knee-jerk impulse is to dump on a blue-collar guy who highlights folks in the street ain't got nothing to eat? Yes!
Yep.
Yes, Nick Kristof, yes!
Yes.
I grew up with a moderate left. Liberals, and that's where we were, fighting for the working class, for the common folk. Now, I, as many others around me, always respected hard work. And there was a guy who was super rich, and we'd say, one day I will be there too. I will work hard and I will prove it. Many of us made it. Not everybody did. The world can be cruel and unfair. But for the most part, the idea was this. The system of capitalism should lift all ships. And if we come to the point of dramatic wealth inequality, we have a serious problem. Because lobbyists, revolving door politics, the government empowering the corporations, that is not the way the system is supposed to work. But then what happened? The Democratic Party became the party of the revolving door politics, as exemplified here with Oliver Anthony. He says, if you've been on Mars for the last couple of weeks, I'm talking, of course, about Oliver Anthony, a country singer who a month ago was unknown and now had his song Richmond, North of Richmond, soar from nowhere to the top of the Billboard Hot 100. I think he's the only person ever to debut at number 1 on the Hot 100 with no other charting history.
That's what
I've been
they
selling
say.
my soul, working all day, he laments. We know the song. It's a great song. He says, in this case, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene labeled Richmond the anthem of the forgotten Americans, and Fox News asked participants in the Republican debate to discuss it. Meanwhile, some of the left pounced on it as, oh, I love this, the left pounced. There you go, you were finally getting them, as right-wing propaganda and even as racist trash. Does the left really want to leave battered, angry workers to be defended by a GOP that periodically guts unions, targets Social Security, resists health care coverage, and opposes increases in minimum wage? Oh, boy, I got so much to rip apart. Nick Kristof, it's funny that he is the same hoity-toity leftist, liberal, of wealth and means, but at least he can recognize he doesn't want to lose, and it's a losing position to oppose working-class people. Gut unions. Let's talk about what that means. I was in a union. I was in a couple. Did the union fight for us? Not in my experience. The union gave themselves cushy positions, taking money from us, and I wasn't a fan of it. However, I have also made attempts to form unions because there can be corrupt institutions across the board. Now, I can't speak for Republicans
Go
or
make
this
your own
generic
company.
Get rid of union stuff, but I can say not all unions are good. And there does need to be accountability.
The problem
and
I have
reform.
with unions in general is if you go and you really hone your skills and you become really good at your job, and then the other person doesn't, but they just do enough to scrape by, they get paid the exact same amount that you do. If the company's not treating you well, go and leave and create your own company. And you might think, oh, well, I can't go make my own coal mine. Why? Because there's too many regulations. I have to go get all this approval and everything. Well, that's kind of the problem. If the government would just get out of the way, you could go create your own company and there'd be way more competition and you wouldn't need unions. Unions are a result of big government trying to keep people down, and then you can't go create your own company. So you have to stay with that company. You're forced to, because in order to go create your own, it's so expensive. It's outrageous. You can't even get funding because the tax, all the applications, the people fund you, right? So it's just like, it's dumb. So if you could just get rid of all of that, you wouldn't need unions, right?
Ones that are bad. The world is not perfect. Targets Social Security. I'm pretty sure that's a big lie. They just keep saying it over and over again as if it's true. Resists health care coverage. And what do you mean by that? They want to be private so the costs go down? That's the argument they're making. No one's making the argument that people should be denied health care outright. We're saying that you should be responsible for your own and the cost would go down without regulation.
Exactly.
Opposes increases in the minimum wage. The minimum wage, in my opinion, is the stupidest thing imaginable. And
it makes it illegal to work.
I despise this concept.
If I want to work for
no
$3 an hour, let me.
And the only people who support it are people who don't actually, for the most part, understand basic economics and how businesses operate. It's a ridiculous idea. If you want to hire someone, you have to pay them at least this much. Well, it doesn't do anything. It really doesn't.
It makes it
I suppose it's
illegal
fair to
for
say
people
that
to
it's
work.
a temporary
It does
solution,
that.
ultimately leading to inflation, because a business will have to increase its costs immediately to have a minimum
Well,
wage.
then it's crazy, because if you're not worth $7 an hour or whatever your minimum wage is in your state, why you can't get a job? People don't really ever think about it like that. They're like, you think it's fair for this person to work for $3 an hour? Well, if they took the job and they're working for it, they think it's fair. And then they can use those skills that they gain from that $3 to increase their wage, and it can go up. But if you just say, okay, no, you have to pay them $7 or nothing, and a business is like, well, they're not worth $7 an hour, so they just will never get a job. They can't, so they can never gain that experience, can't get the skills, so then they're just stuck. They're stuck at zero. People are like, you think $3 they'd be happy with that? I think they're going to be happier with that than nothing. And again, $3 will eventually go up. You gain more skills. People are like, okay, I'll pay you $7 an hour. Otherwise they'll lose the person and they won't want to, and then it keeps going up from there. That's the thing with minimum wage. Does everyone just stay at minimum wage forever? Most people don't. You go start off at minimum wage, you gain skills, and then you can go use that experience and those skills to go get paid more because you're worth more. Yeah, so minimum wage just makes it illegal to work, so you can never even gain those skills. It's really messed up.
But ultimately, what you really need is a functioning economy. So long as they're mass printing money and allowing people to flood through the southern border, I can understand why they want to use a temporary Band-Aid of minimum wage to force companies to pay more, because with the massive influx of non-citizens and low-skilled labor, it's driving wages down. So they put a Band-Aid on it. Anthony, who calls himself just an idiot, just some idiot and his guitar, seemed taken aback by the assumption that he must be a right-winger. He said his song was meant to blast politicians on both sides. And, I had someone message me saying that I was wrong and the Joe Rogan podcast proves Oliver Anthony understands politics. He doesn't. But I'm not saying he has to. My point is that he's a regular dude. He's a working class guy, and that's what he saw. And now, with this article, we exemplify exactly that point. There's a reason why the left does not like Oliver Anthony, because he's right-wing. Sorry, by their definition. Sure, you can call the guy a liberal. You can talk about his politics when it pertains to abortion or healthcare or whatever. Doesn't matter. Left and right do not mean whether you're pro-choice or pro-life, as exemplified by my show. Oliver Anthony fights for the working class, complains about his money being taken from him. His dollar's not worth anything. That's the problem. The neo-libs and the neocons, the typical establishment and left, want to tax you. AOC talks about deficit spending for healthcare, which would massively drive an insane increase in inflation, devaluing of the dollar. You think your dollar's not worth anything now? Wait until you get AOC's deficit spending plan. So what he's inherently saying, as a regular person noticing problems, is that he opposes the left. So they're not going to embrace him. They need him to be racist so they can stop those ideas.
Yeah, and the left loves big government.
And convince you they're not lying.
You want to get rid of government and taxes, bad.
Seriously. And you get it. We had this funny story recently where these, I won't say too much, but these leftists are attacking, Timcast, as they normally do. But it's crazy because the lies they put out are just so insanely obviously not true to anybody who even goes to our website one time. And it's just like people just fall in line and believe it. That's all they have. Join the cult. Don't defy us and believe the lies. So when Oliver Anthony comes out saying, I'm not involved in politics, says these ideas, of course they're going to attack him because he's going to wake people up. But hey, bravo on getting on Joe Rogan, man.
Oh, hell yeah.
I'm a big fan. I love that song, Richmond, North of Richmond. It's really good. And I want to cover it now. Just learn, not like put out a video. I just want to learn how to play it. It'd be really fun. But I'll wrap it up there. Next segment is coming up at 6 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out. And
yeah, this is just really funny. The left just hates him because they're like, oh, you hate taxes and all this stuff. And just what most people just in general, most normal people don't like. They're like, oh, you must be on the right if you don't like this stuff. It's so tribal now. It's insane. You can't, in like that article is saying, hey, the left isn't for the working man anymore. No, they haven't been for a long time. And were they ever even with unions? Like I said, are unions good for the working man? Not really. I mean, wouldn't it be ideal if you had an environment where you could go just start your own company where you wouldn't have to worry about unionizing? And then you unionize, and then you're getting paid as the same as your coworker, no matter who puts in more work. If I put in 16 hours a day or they put in 12, they're going to get paid just as much, or 8 versus 16. If I'm grinding, if it's not like a commission based and I just really want the best for the company, and it's salary, you get paid the same. Or if your skills are the same, like let's say you both work 8 hours a day, but you're better at your job. Like let's say you're doing coding, okay? You do coding, and then you can go and get 10 pages done of coding in an hour, and then they can only get done 5. But if it's union, you're getting paid the same amount. So it's like, no, why wouldn't I pay me more? I want to get paid more. I'm better at my job. No, you can't because there's a union. So that's what I don't like. It's like collective bargaining. that's always my argument against it. I'd rather work hard. I'd rather negotiate on my own. And then if it's just like, oh, if I don't want healthcare benefits or whatever, because I'm not going to use them or whatever, I think they're too expensive. Just give me more money. I don't need days off, stuff like that. I don't need paid vacation. Or, well, I mean, if it's paid, it's paid. I mean, take it. But you don't need sick days or something. Pay me more. Just because that goes into your salary one way or another. And if you want the benefits or whatever, yeah, more power to you. I'm just giving an example of what you can negotiate. But as a union, no, whatever the majority wants. I don't care about benefits or whatever. No, you have to take them, and you don't get a choice. You can't negotiate to get paid more because that's what the union says, and you're part of the union. So yeah, that's not good for people, in my opinion. But the leftist thinks it is, and they're always like, oh, well, we're for the working guy because we like unions. But then you want higher taxes. You want more regulation so they can't even go and make their own business. They're stuck with this company that's already established. So was that ever really for the working person? And now it's just went so out of control. They're not for the working man at all. Yeah, they're just all establishment. They want everyone to fall in line. They don't even seem like everyone that they're like people like rural people. They just like call them Trump supporters and talk trash about them. So yeah, I would say the left is definitely not for the working man anymore. That's for sure. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe for daily news updates, smash that like button, share this video with your friends, and share your thoughts on the story in the comments below. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.